What's happening, y'all? It's James Hancock. I'm here to continue my Dark Souls walkthrough. I probably should call it like my complete guide or something like that, because it seems like some people call a playthrough and a walkthrough and a complete guide kind of, I don't know, different things. But my goal in this is obviously to show everything in the game that I possibly can. But before I go into Anor Londo, I am going to run back down to the base of the game, essentially, and gather a few quick things that I need to ensure a stress-free stroll through Anor Londo. Anor Londo is very fun, very cool, very exciting, and worth revisiting several times, and I'll have to just because of the different things we do there. But it can be challenging when you first arrive. One reason I shot that guy was just to get a few extra souls, because why not? He was looking at me funny, so I needed to shoot him in the face. That's how we roll in Dark Souls. At any rate, ride this sucker down. The only thing you gotta watch out for is at the bottom there's a giant lizard dude, as well as a bunch of traps. I mean, this is Sin's Fortress after all, and Sin's Fortress will always be dangerous, even if you take the shortcut. I don't even really worry about him, because if he chases you, they don't know to pause for these little blades, and they almost always get knocked off. So I'm just fast forwarding. Lizards chase me. The arrows actually killed one. I finally got the arrows to kill one, but it wasn't worth slowing down the camera for. What I'm going to do real quick is put my last point that I need into dexterity to make sure I'll be able to use my short bow in Anor Londo. As I've mentioned in previous videos, there is a point in the game where I need to have my poison arrows to get past probably the most notoriously difficult moment in the history of all Dark Souls. One thing I never looked up was whether or not my short bow would still hit them and poison with my poison arrows, even if I don't have the dexterity to wield it. That's something I probably should have looked up before putting my points in, but I'm kind of inching my way toward getting enough stats for the great side anyway, so Dex 14 and Strength 14 are on my to-do list, but Intelligence to 60 gets a higher priority. The reason I'm coming down here right now is that I've got a couple of those green Titanite shards, and I want to jack up my dagger a bit. I won't be doing a lot of melee in Anor Londo, but when I do melee, I want to make sure that I'm hitting with some oomph. Fast forwarding as I run back up to the top. We have to go to the shortcut that we originally opened up that goes to the depths, because along the way there's a very important vendor, and he sells really crucial items that you need throughout the whole game. I slow it down here just because I get a good parry. You did. And then I'm just going to speed up because, yeah, I don't want to dwell upon my shitty gameplay unless I absolutely have to. But I think, yeah, he hits me while I'm trying to do more parries, and it's just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not my strong suit. I should do a dex build playthrough at some point through Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3 and just really get awesome at my parries. At any rate, this guy, he's a phenomenal vendor. He sells so much good stuff. But the poison arrow, like I said, I'm going to use it to get past this point where it's a walkway that there's an echo of it in Dark Souls 3. But in Dark Souls 3, it's insanely easy to get through the spot. Dark Souls 1, it is close to impossible. I've seen people do it in videos. I've never personally gone through it the right way, where you use a shield and use melee. I'm buying one more Transient Curse just because when I go into the new Londo ruins, I always seem to need one or two extra, so I might as well just snag it now. But like I said, he also sells Purging Stones, which are very, very important. He's a great vendor, so I will probably see him probably one more time before the playthrough is over. Talking to Big Hat Logan just to see if there are any spells that I want. Homing Soul Mass is more of a PvP spell. I mean, some people use it in PvE. I've never really seen the point. I mean, it's great. It looks cool. You get these 5 kind of like blue globes that hover above you, and when you engage with somebody, just whacks them. But it's, you know, it takes up one of your slots, and I'd rather just stand back and nuke people from a distance, because a lot of times those homing soul masses miss. It's just, like I said, it seems to work best in PvP, where you cast it, and you run in, and you melee with someone and engage, and a few of them will hit them just to give you a little advantage. I'm just running past all these reptile dudes, because there's just no reason to mess with them. I got whacked there getting in the cage. Pretty easy to fall, but I'm a good gamer, so I got in there. Running back to the top of Sin's Fortress, and there is a little weird circle that is now permanently there that will allow me to teleport to the famous Anor Londo. Now, you'll see some of these creatures that if you're a new player to Dark Souls, you'll recognize these creatures from Dark Souls 3. They make a brief appearance toward the beginning of the game. I don't know the lore on them at all. They seem to do nice things sometimes by flying you places you need to go, but other times they're total fuckers and you have to fight them. Like in Anor Londo, you have to fight a ton of them. So I'm not quite sure why some of them are nice or some are mean. Or maybe they're all mean. They're just taking me up there because, like, dude, you're in Fucksville now and shit's gonna get real. At any rate, there's Anor Londo. It's just beautiful. Looks like, I mean, the graphics there look like something out of Dark Souls 3. They're so well done. And so I'm just letting this cinematic play out so you can soak it in. In Dark Souls 3, you return to Anor Londo, but most of it is in ruins and inaccessible, so you don't get to really experience the full grandeur of this really, really cool city. Also, this is the end of the part of Dark Souls where you navigate entirely by foot, because after Anor Londo, you gain the ability to teleport, and once you have the ability to teleport, the game's just different. It's still cool, but you no longer get rewarded for incredible knowledge of shortcuts and the geography quite to the same degree. So this is kind of like the last bit. And also, Dark Souls 2 and 3 don't reward that really at all. So yeah, Anor Londo is effectively the end of what makes, for me, this game so incredibly special. I don't know why that spell didn't hit him at all, but I guess it hit him with the shield. These guys are super easy to fight, but sometimes I do stupid things and they will just beat the hell out of me. You have to kill at least 7 or 8 of them between here and the main boss. So it's best to get good at fighting them. When I've played melee characters in the past, I've never really had a lot of trouble with them. Problem is, their shield is 100% immune to magic. So standing back and blasting doesn't do any bit of good whatsoever. I need to get them to swing. But more often than not, when they swing, I get hit because I have bad reflexes, bad timing. But you know, so far so good. I killed 2 pretty easily. This guy, I've debated almost fast-forwarding through it because it's so humiliating. This guy, as you're about to see, is just going to get medieval on my ass. And even though he's so close to death, he hits me 7, 8, 9 times before I finally get him down. I'm rushing and I'm trying to zap him. I try meleeing him. I try everything, and just nothing's working. I'm trying to like jump through his legs, and they're not that hard. I don't know why. I fuck everything up. You can judge it for yourself, but my distance is wrong. I'm not holding up my shield when I should. I'm not circling when I should. I'm getting nothing right. So yeah, just wasting my flask. Also because I know there's a bonfire really, really close that's also making me a little lazy. And when you know, it's kind of like, you know, how like you have a large percentage of accidents when people are close to home because they get lazy and complacent when they're driving in a familiar area. And right now, because I'm close to a bonfire, I'm just being a dumbass and just getting hit every single swing. I mean, it'd be funny if it wasn't so pathetic. Thank goodness you did, sucker. But I take no pride in that kill because that was just the low point of Dark Souls gaming. Once again, stay in the habit of hitting treasure chests with your weapon, because from here on out, they're just going to be mimics all over the place. And in Dark Souls 1, mimics are beasts. They do jumping kicks. They do soccer kicks. And Dark Souls 3 is kind of cool because you have some that are like from Dark Souls 2 that have like, you know, they spit the poison and that sort of thing. And you have some that are like in Dark Souls 1, so it kind of makes it a little more unpredictable. In Dark Souls 1, they're all the same. They're just soccer players and they love fucking, and kind of like soccer players / martial artists. I love the fact that they jump through the air and do these like spinning side kicks. Alright, this is an important NPC. You can reinforce your Estus Flask if you have any Firekeeper souls. And later on in the game, we will probably fight this person because this is a spoiler, but all of Anor Londo is an illusion. There's a girl named Gwendolyn. I can't remember her relationship to Gwen. Maybe she's Gwen's daughter, but once again, the lore of Dark Souls, I get really jumbled up. I love reading it and hearing about it when I see it, but very little of it sticks. But if and when you decide to kill Gwendolyn, this entire illusion of Anor Londo as like this sunny place at the height of its glory just totally falls to pieces. And when that happens, that Firekeeper person is just like, fuck you, and comes after you. So here I am, determined to make a slightly better showing of myself and not get hit by these guys. Yeah, they're fun to fight. They give you tons of souls, and they can drop some pretty cool, I think they drop some cool stuff here periodically. But at a distance, you can get one major shot off on them before they even recognize that you're a threat. So the key is just to lure them in and then move and shoot. Or melee him if you are a melee guy. But while I've only got my dagger, I'm just not going to be playing that way. I've got a giant arsenal of death with my spells now. And it's just going to get more and more nasty. I mean, right now, my intelligence is like 33 or 34. By the time my intelligence gets to 60, it's just like pick any wizard from, you know, from literature or from movies or from any video game, and you are that lethal bastard. Like Raceland from Dragonlance or Merlin from the Arthurian Legends or Gandalf. You just feel so goddamn overpowered. The reason I'm pausing here is so you can see that a mimic will breathe a little bit. The lid will kind of open up and close just a tad. So you can see it's kind of breathing. The chain is also facing in a different direction. Slightly different color as well. So yeah, if you are observant, you'll be able to tell it's a mimic before it even comes to life. But yeah, that one I just remembered it was a mimic, so I just wanted to really study the details. Yeah, this is me. I think I played this one pretty poorly as well. I let him kick me a few times. Yeah, the dagger's just doing nothing against him, so I need to enchant this guy a little more. Yeah, the goal is just let him swing, blast, then let him jump, blast. I should not have tried to get that shot. Rule number 1 in Dark Souls, every single Dark Souls game, is don't be hasty. If you're patient and dodge or block and then do your thing, you will win. If you are impatient, you get hit. And so, yeah, but sometimes, you know, I don't follow my own rules. It's kind of like in Scarface when they say don't get high on your own supply. And then Frank makes that kind of snide comment about how Michelle Pfeiffer, you know, not everybody follows the rules. Anyway, I am the Michelle Pfeiffer cokehead from Scarface when it comes to Dark Souls. But moving on, this guy, another easy kill. This path, I don't even need to kill this guy. I don't know why I'm killing him. But this path leads up to a gateway that right now is totally sealed, and it won't open until I turn in this like bowl or something like that down below that giant like tadpole disgusting guy near Firelink Shrine. Once I do, all these portals will open up that allow me access to some of the most powerful bosses in the game, because you have to kill all those bosses before you can go to the final boss. And so I've got to get through Anor Londo before it's even worth going up there. But if you're a sorcerer, it's a vital area because it's just spells galore. Trying to get my intelligence to 36, because at 36 I'll be able to use my Soul Spear spell. Soul Spear is fast, it's powerful. You only get 4 of them, or 5 of them maybe, I can't remember which. But it's one of the most powerful sorcery spells in the game by far. I think it's even faster than a regular soul arrow, but hits like a giant Mack truck that's driving over someone's face. So now I'm heading down into Anor Londo proper. And yeah, don't get sidetracked by the physical beauty of the design. I mean, it looks like a super chill, laid-back place, and it also just doesn't look that densely packed with enemies. But when you do encounter enemies, they tend to be tough. I'm looking behind here just to be on the safe side, but there's nothing there. Yeah, the enemies here are not fucking around, and there's plenty of places to fall. There's someone to be summoned, but when I'm just clearing trash and doing like the normal part of a level, I'm not super keen on summoning other players, because they're usually doing it because they want to do a full run through and kill a boss and get their humanity back. Because when you help somebody, you get your humanity. And I'm just on this video at least, not planning on fighting any bosses. I'm just planning on gathering as much loot and opening up as many areas as possible. But anyway, I didn't get to look and see who it was, so that is a friend I will sadly never make. But overall, I do enjoy co-op play quite a bit. It's just, even though you can't really talk to them all that well, there's this incredible sense of camaraderie. And that's one thing I miss most about not playing World of Warcraft anymore. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but I played World of Warcraft like a beast for years and years and years, and the peak of which was from like 2010, during like the height of Wrath of the Lich King. And I got pretty hardcore into it as well during Mists of Pandaria. But one thing I miss most about it is the network gaming. You know, teaming up with your friends to do something impossible, and that incredible feeling of accomplishment you get after overcoming a boss that you've wiped on 100 times, and you've been working on it for weeks, and finally you get him down and you just lose your fucking mind. It's just such an adrenaline rush. But you rarely get that playing by yourself. But it is fun in co-op on Dark Souls when you're fighting a really, really challenging boss to summon somebody and team up, because Most of the time, if you do boss on co-op, it just makes them insanely easy, even though the bosses get way more health. Be very careful walking up this thing. Sometimes your camera will just go batshit and you'll just fall off. So you just gotta be real careful. It's super slippery, so just go all the way to the top and then roll to the right. But here's the thing about co-op though. Like I might say it gets insanely easy when you summon somebody. That is based on the assumption that you're summoning a pretty good player. And sometimes they suck and they die in seconds, and then you're dealing with the boss with twice so much health, so it can backfire. These guys are pretty slippery. They love to roll, they love to dodge, they love to throw knives at you, they love to backstab. They're pretty fun to fight, but what's even better is that you can get their armor in the painted world of Aramis, one of my favorite zones in the game. And I just think if you're a clothy or someone wear light armor, that's one of the coolest armor sets by far in the game. Only downside is because I need my spells to always be at max strength, I'm never able to wear any cool headpieces unless I'm just playing dress up for the camera. So I'll do that a little bit, but yeah, I just think my pretty blouse and my headpiece go together well, and my headpiece jacks up my spell, so I just will not be taking it off. So my dex is 12 now. I officially can use my short bow, so it's time to equip some arrows and pull some guys over. This is a very, very scary place. It's not like Sen's Fortress, but you can die to fall damage pretty easily here. And these motherfuckers just dance around like ballerinas on these planks and will knock your ass off. So yeah, it's best just pull one or two over if you can, and then fight them on a safe vantage point, which is down below. I was being cocky and didn't immediately go down. I should have, because he's just going to throw knives at me until I go down, and I slip. Luckily, I didn't fall to my death. Yeah, this video, I cover a lot of ground in this video, but I don't always play to the best of my ability in this video. When I'm in Anor Londo, there's so many things that make me just afraid that until the bosses are down, I kind of stay in this heightened state of anxiety, just assuming that everything's just going to go bad. Which is pretty fair, because I've spent so much time in Anor Londo. The big thing also about Anor Londo is even 5 years after after Dark Souls came out, it's still a crazy PvP zone, and I don't understand how that's even possible. But once you get into the main castle of Anor Londo, people will invade your face off, and it's horrible because it's already a challenging place, and you're trying to conserve your health and your flasks and everything for the boss, and these pricks just hang out in the room before the boss, invading, making it obscenely difficult to get in there. So it's kind of like all bets are off. Once you get toward the end of Anor Londo and the boss, summon anyone you can to help and just get to the boss, because yeah, it's all challenging. But that's what makes it so memorable. That's why people look back on this place so fondly, because of the feeling of accomplishment they get when it's in their rear view mirror. Remember to slash this chain. There's an awesome spell in that chandelier, especially if you're a sorcerer. I believe it's magic weapon or greater magic weapon. It's one of those magic weapon spells. I haven't been using those spells at all just because I do so little melee with this character, but there are some sorcerers who just like using one or two spells, like crystal magic weapon, and then just play like a melee character, which is totally legitimate. I mean, it's a fucking boss buff. I think it is not quite as good though as the Darkmoon Blade spell. The Darkmoon Blade in Dark Souls 1, there's a couple different levels of it that make your weapon powerful. But in order to get the Dark Blade up to its maximum, I think you have to win 50 PvP battles after you join a covenant called, hang on, I've got it written down right here, 1 second. Damn it, my iPad has gone to sleep. I've got a lengthy password. Alright, so the Blade of the Darkmoon is the Covenant, and you can join the Blade of the Darkmoon here in Anor Londo. However, there are two ways to do it. One is you get the Darkmoon Seance Ring from the, what the hell is that place? I haven't gone to it yet in this walkthrough. God, Catacombs. Yeah, in the Catacombs, you get the Darkmoon Seance Ring. The other way to join the Blade of the Darkmoon is if you kill Gwendolyn at the end of this, and then go request forgiveness or absolution from the guy who can forgive you when you quit different covenants, then you can also talk to the the head of the Dark Moon Covenant, or the Blade of the Dark Moon. I'm blanking on that person's name. I can't. Gwendolyn and Gwen and this other girl all confused and mixed up, and it's just because they all got similar sounding names and they're all powerful bosses. But I will show you where everything is as you go, and you can learn their names when you do your playthrough. This is kind of unnecessary, but there is gear down here, so I just feel like showing you how it's done. It's there's a chance to fall to your death in a few spots, but I just go ahead and do it. So this is where you're going to end up when you come back from the right direction. But I should not have come down this way first, because this is where I return from. Just checking. I'm pretty sure I've got 99% of the hidden walls in this game memorized. But any place that looks suspicious, it's just a good habit to get into, to give it a whack just to check. So key is to roll off here without falling all the way to the bottom, run across, and then be careful because you got to roll between the columns, or you will once again fall to your death. And there is a guy at the top of the stairs, hidden around to the left, who almost always jumps out and backstabs me. But this time I remembered he was there, so fuck you! Yeah, I didn't let him get me. Yeah, these guys are pretty squishy, but man, they can, if you let them cut loose on you, they can shred you. They just hit you fast, and they backstab and all that good stuff. But they look so damn cool, I don't mind fighting. Any mobs that look cool, I'm always happy to fight them indefinitely. So another divine blessing, which I will never use. I got a divine blessing in Sin's Fortress that I'll also never use. I mean, maybe I'll equip them for the last boss fight in the game just for fun, in case I want to fully jack up my health all the way back up. But the last boss of the game is pretty damn easy. Maybe I'll save it for Artorias, who's kind of hard, or Manus, who's kind of hard, or the giant dragon you fight. I mean, all three bosses in the expansion pack, they're all challenging, and that's what's cool about the expansion pack. It's a really cool zone to explore. They are interconnected really in an interesting way, but all three bosses are arguably the hardest three bosses in the game. And I guess that's why the last boss is so easy by comparison, because you've already had to kill the three expansion bosses if you're playing the right way before you fight them. So of course it's going to seem easy, because the expansion pack came out after the original content. So you can, that should be familiar from Dark Souls 3. I forgot there's a giant gargoyle here. These gargoyles are a lot like the gargoyles at the top of the bell tower in the beginning of the game. They're not super hard, but he just caught me off guard. I forgot it was there. And they're pretty stupid, and if you get them stuck around a corner, they just don't quite know how to move. So this guy, he's already getting confused, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just standing right in front of you. Just walk toward me. But he's like, oh, I'm going to walk backwards. Anyway, he's dead, and so I got his gear. I won't be using any of it, but that halberd's pretty goddamn badass. So definitely worth a look. Up ahead is the main part of Anor Londo, but I will not be going there yet because I want to go down and do two quick things. I'm going to grab that spell that I knocked down from that chandelier, and I'm going to save my game down at a bonfire that's way down, even yet another level down. A lot of people forget that it's even down there, but it's where you can join the Blade of the Dark Moon, and it's where you can fight an optional boss much later in the game. And it's a boss that's painfully easy for some people, but for some reason for me, I always really struggle with him. And so you'll get to enjoy watching me suffer and struggle when I get there. I probably should have fast-forwarded to this part. This is kind of boring because it's just me fighting these stupid rogue guys, and I do it the exact same way, just standing back and blasting, standing back and blasting. Well, if you hear me involuntarily fighting back one or two yawns, it's not because I'm not interested in the videos, because I went to the gym right before this, and even though I am pretty weak, I was doing some kind of like powerlifting exercises, and as soon as I'm done recording this, I'm going to go into a deep, deep, deep dark slumber and rest and heal, and then wake up and game my face off. So, but I just want to get this video uploaded into YouTube while I crash, so that I'm basically not up and about while all my bandwidth is being chewed up by uploading to YouTube. That's one thing. I love putting these videos on YouTube, but goddamn, sometimes they take like 2 or 3 hours to upload, and during that time, my internet in my apartment is just weak. What I need to do is get a separate Wi-Fi just for uploading videos, so that I can be, messing around on Twitter or making videos with the other Wi-Fi. But these are all things for down the road. Oh, what else is going on? I've been preparing a Wrong Reel episode, which I'm going to be recording tomorrow with Kyle Reardon, Jacob Rivera, and Marcus Penn. And we're going to be dipping our toes into pretty controversial subject matter. We're going to be tackling, actually not controversial because it's a universally beloved documentary, but it's O.J. Made in America. The topic is controversial because it deals with, race, politics, and celebrity, and murder, and a lot of very, very, provocative, kind of exciting, easily kind of like misinterpreted issues, or I guess it's easy to say things about those issues and be misinterpreted. Everybody kind of walks on eggshells about those issues, but I thought O.J. Made in America was riveting, although I tend to be a little bit not over the topic of race, because it's an important topic, but I'm over the majority of what most morons on the internet have to say, because, as we all know, most people on the internet, including myself, are pretty stupid, and when we start talking about politics, we tend to show our worst side. But I felt like O.J. Made in America did this brilliant job. I love this painting. That's the painted world of Aramis, which I will be going to later on, but I can't go to yet because there's a boss I got to kill in order to get a special item that will allow me entrance. But with the O.J. Made in America thing, it did an incredible job of showing how 50 years of racial injustice, particularly in Southern California and Los Angeles County, how that informed the O.J. trial and also informed O.J.'s conduct in the 20 years as a celebrity leading up to the trial. And it never even occurred to me that I would be interested in the topic again, because I was in high school when O.J. got arrested the first time, and I was my first year in college when he finally was acquitted. But for basically my entire 18th year of my life, all I did was hear people talking about O.J. It was on the TV all the time. It was on magazines and newspapers. It was just total, complete media saturation. And I thought I'd seen and heard everything I needed to see and hear on the topic. I couldn't have been more wrong. O.J. Made in America just fucking blew my mind, was a massive eye-opener, and I'm currently watching the 5 episodes for a second time. So yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, all you got to do is go to the ESPN website and you can log in. Alright, so I'm logging back in. Oh, no, I'm logging back in. Hitting this switch again, it's going to take the stairs down to the bottom. Down at the bottom is a bonfire, an important ring if you're a faith build. But more importantly, it's where the entrance is to kill an optional boss. But prior to killing her, they are the head of the Darkmoon Blade. So I'm going to come back here at a certain point with that ring, the Darkmoon Seance ring, and join it just to show how it's done before I officially fight the person. So Ring of the Sun's Firstborn, I think it just jacks up your faith spells. At any rate, that is where you need to have the ring in order to talk to the person to join that faction or covenant. And now I am saving it. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. If you could subscribe and like, that would be very, very helpful, helping me get noticed. And feel free to leave me a comment or tell me how so much I suck at fighting those giant metallic dudes. And give me a shout on Twitter at Colbrax, and we can rap about just about any topic under the sun. And in my next video, I'll come back and I'll be doing the hard part of Anor Londo, which should be very entertaining for all. So thanks again for watching. What am I doing? Oh, anyway, doesn't matter. Time to take a bow and say farewell. So thanks so much for watching, folks.